What's up, everybody? Dave Bartosiak here, and I got another chart of the day. I was going to have one yesterday, but I had a little crick in my neck. No bueno. Today we're going to talk about Newsmax, ticker NMAX. Now, if you notice, we're zoomed in here on an intraday chart because the thing's only been alive for 3 days now. This is going to be a third session here on Wednesday, April 2nd. Do not adjust your screen. These are real prices, okay? And this is a stock that started trading at $14 when the IPO launched. By the end of that first day, we were already up in the 70s. Pretty crazy. After hours ran up a little bit more. Then you get the open yesterday. You get a big gap up again, huge rally, and then really ripped it up again into the bell yesterday, and then in after hours, and then you get a gap down this morning, and that is the right price, $125 and change for a stock that IPO'd. I believe the IPO price was 10, but the started trading at $14.46. So pretty crazy stuff, and these big gaps, which on the daily chart are going to look really weird when we finally do that. But I didn't want to do a daily chart because you're only going to get 3 bars. Wouldn't get a lot of info from that. What I did here, obviously mostly we do the daily bars. We don't really get intraday. So one thing you can use is that VWAP, that volume weighted average price. But further than that, if you put these standard deviations, it's almost like Bollinger Bands on top of your VWAP, it'll really tell you a lot of information. And it's interesting to see that a stock that's even rallying dramatically will find support at that level if it pushes through. So push through, and then boom, all of a sudden we're bouncing along that standard deviation off the VWAP. And then even later in the day, it just gets sucked to it, right? And then if you look yesterday, that bottom part of that provided some support before the stock, rallied up. So interesting how these different levels come into play throughout the course of a trading day. And a lot of it has to do with all the algos and how they trade and in relation to that VWAP and the standard deviations off of that VWAP. So what's really cool is we can already have a huge range on a fib with this stock based on that opening price and then where it was last night. I thought I saw the after hours get up to 280 and change, which I'm sure it was. So it's not showing the after hours here. I saw 285, so I moved this to 285. I know you're like, Dave, what are you doing? You're cheating. I'm not cheating. Trust me. I just don't have the settings on this to do the after hours stuff, but I'm going to make this 285. That way I know. And I think it was 1464 was that opening price. And now you can see how already we are starting to get some interaction with these fibs. We got this fib here that provided a little bit of support for Newsmax intraday here and today already. Watch for the 150 level. Of course, by the time this comes out, today is going to be in the bag. So that's the good part. We could go back and check me, and then in the comments, you can tell me how glorious I am or how ridiculously off I am based on what happened. So that 150 level should be something key I'd be looking at. Again, we have this supportive fib here. Should it break down below here, next stop is all the way down to the 70s. If it breaks on through 150, likely this swing high. That's going to be a challenge ahead of that next fib. So pretty interesting how you can use these fibs on really a short scale, and you see it end up interacting with the stock's price so quickly. It's like we just got there. It just started. So, and then even, let's hop in the time machine and just look at the range of yesterday. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip this like this. This way we won't have to draw the extensions. They'll just kind of be here. There you go. And these would go further. And you could see how the gap up made it to these fib extensions. And then this fib extension came into play a little bit yesterday before it blew through it. So you can use these on very short scales. You can use these on very long scales. In this case, obviously, it's a very short scale that we're using this on. Interesting stuff. Now, since we're talking about Newsmax, the recent IPO, we might as well talk about another one. That's right, folks. This is going to be double duty. And I'm not kidding. UTF, another one, another IPO yesterday. Check out the load here, 408. Okay, so from 408, this thing gets almost to 20 during the trading day yesterday. Normally, I think it got to 27 and after hours, something like that, which is pretty crazy. And then you can already see today. This is just heartbreaking. I mean, just these are all volatility pauses throughout the course of the day. So big drop, halt, big drop, halt, big drop, halt, big drop, halt. I mean, that just goes to show you these are huge, incredibly risky things to mess around with. And if you're gonna mess around with it, don't put any real money in it. Okay, this is literally an amusement. This is a carnival game. But I just wanted to point out the ridiculous moves that we've seen, right? In no way am I endorsing this type of trading. It's just, for me, it's just madness. The lack of liquidity just doesn't make a lot of sense. But I just wanted to show how dramatic a move. Stock going from $4 to $20 in its first trading day. It's pretty ridiculous. And now it's basically giving, well, it's not giving it all back yet, but it's giving back a good chunk of it. So where does it go after this? I don't know. But again, another case where these recent IPOs are just going absolutely bonkers. And here again, you can see the standard deviations off the VWAP coming into play, because it happened yesterday, and then when it reeled in, it went higher again. And I have one of the great things about TradingView. So this is our sort of partner free version that we have on the site. But if you have the real deal version and you pay for it, then there's like custom indicators in this that will end up giving you something like this, where you get, you can change the bands coming off of the VWAP, much like you can add other levels to your Bollinger Band. That's the same thing. You can add different levels coming off of that. And I'm pretty sure this would be coinciding with that. Anyway, and if you see on the way down here, they're all kind of just flirting with that bottom end of that band coming on down. So if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the top of this band in the mid 12s is probably a place where there's going to be some serious resistance if the stock can get past that initial VWAP. So two really crazy stocks there. And again, like I said, I wanted to show you just the craziness in 1 day and 2 days. So after going from a low of 405 to a high of 1985 during the regular trading day yesterday, this thing, WTF, Walton Financial, down 54% on the day intraday here. And then if you look at Newsmax, that first day, a low of 14, high of 83.51. Yesterday, up another 179%. Today, giving back 40%. Really crazy stuff. A ton of volatility. Is it normal? Absolutely not. Is this something you should be trading? I don't think so. Are these great long-term investments? Probably not at these price levels. We don't have any exact ranks on them yet. We don't have a lot of analyst coverage. Something to take note of and take a look at in the future and see. But in terms of the valuations, they're getting a little stretched. I think I saw yesterday that this had Newsmax valued higher than Fox yesterday. Not sure that that's the case. I guess that's part of the reason why stock is off 40% today. Well, there you have it for my chart of the day, folks. And be sure to come back next week when I've got a couple of other bangers for you. Beware of the stocks like Newsmax and Walton Financial, NMAX, and WTF. Be sure to follow the author if you're here on Zacks.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and come back for another banger. For everybody here at Zacks, I'm Dave Bartosiak, and I'll see you next week.